this exercise we will create a gear by selecting faces, extruding and scaling them, and using the G key to repeat the actions. We will also be adding a material and assigning a color to the gear. First, we locate the Polygon Modeling tab and left-click on the cylinder icon to create a polygon cylinder on the workspace grid. Use the middle mouse scroll button to zoom in and out. Change the scale values by selecting the Poly Cylinder 1 inputs in the Channel box and Layer Editor tab. Click in the Height box and type 0.25 to scale down the cylinder's height. Next, we want the cylinder to have sides in multiples of 3s. To do this, click in the Subdivisions axis box and type 30. Now the cylinder has 30 sides. Next, right-click and select Face from the pop-up menu and press the Shift key to select the two faces that are beside the face that is in line with the axis. Remember, you can press the Alt key and left mouse click and drag to rotate around the model. Rotate around the cylinder using the Shift key, rotating and selecting every other two faces until you reach the last two faces before the first face on the axis. Press Shift and right mouse button to bring up the Modeling Tools pop-up and select Extrude Face. Click on the blue Z-axis arrow control and drag out to extrude the faces outward. Click on the blue cube control and then click on the yellow center cube scale control to scale down the faces a bit. Right-click and select Object Mode to exit to check if all the extruded faces are evenly done. Now, right-click and select Face again. This time select the faces at the top of the gear by pressing the Shift key and dragging a box to select the center top and bottom faces. Shift key and right-click to bring up the modeling pop-up tools and select Extrude Face. Click on any one of the scale cube controls and click and drag on the center scale cube to extrude faces inward a bit. Now, hit the G key on your keyboard to repeat the extrusion action again and click and drag the blue Y-axis arrow to extrude upwards a bit. Tap the cube scale control to scale in the face a bit, then hit the G key again to repeat the extrusion command and scale the faces in again. Hit the G key again, and this time click the blue arrow scale control to scale down a bit. Click the center scale control to scale the faces in a little bit. Hit the G key again and the blue arrow scale control to scale up a bit. Click the center scale control to scale the faces in a little bit. And hit the G key and the center control again to scale in. Hit the G key again and the blue arrow scale control to scale down a little bit. Now, right-click and select Object Mode to look at what you have done. The last step is to create a hole in the center of the gear, so in order to do that, right-click and select Face, then Shift key and select the center top and bottom faces. press Shift and right key to bring up the modeling tools and select Bridge Faces, which joins the faces together. Right-click and select Object Mode to look at what you have done. If you wish, you can select and bevel faces to get a more rounded effect on some of the faces on the gear. To do this, right-click and select Face, then click on one of the top faces, then Shift and double-click on the face next to it to select all of them. Shift key and right-click, then select Bevel Face. Now, right-click and select Object Mode to look at what you have done. You can go ahead and add a material by right-clicking and select Assign New Material. And in the pop-up material selector, select the Lambert shader, then click the extreme right arrow in the Attribute Editor panel until you see the Lambert 2 tab. Select it and click the color box in the Common Material Attributes. Use the hue, saturation and value sliders to give it a color. Click in the shader name box and give it a name, like gear color or any other name of your choice. That's it, you have successfully modeled a gear using multiple extrusions and repeated commands. Feel free to experiment using the modeling tools to achieve other results. Thank you.